Hello, Honors Algebra 2, and welcome to Chapter 5, Word Problems. Today we are going to answer that question, how can I possibly use that? That is our essential question. So we're going to apply some of what we learned within these examples to come, okay? So get your papers ready and so forth, and just follow along and do your best. So a container ship is being unloaded by two cranes. A new model of crane can unload the container ship in 10 hours. An older model can unload it in 14 hours. So the new crane is going to start the job at noon, and then it's going to be joined by the older crane at 2 p.m. So 2 hours later. That might just be helpful to write down there. So the question is, at what time is the job finished? So if you go into engineering or something, or logistics, this could be something that you never know you come across. So what time? So it's always helpful with word problems to determine what are you trying to find. And we're trying to find t is time. So that's what we're trying to find. That is the question. I would write down that part. Okay, now let's decipher some of this other information. So some info. We have our little info bank here. We have crane A and crane B. So crane A, let's see, it takes crane A 10 hours, okay, to do one ship. So 10 hours, it can complete one ship. Okay, crane B, it takes it 14 hours to complete one ship. Okay, so essentially what we have here are two little rates, so to speak. What we can figure out is, so essentially, if we're trying to find out what time was the unloading of one ship completed, basically what we'd be thinking of taking is crane A, however long it worked, crane A, and for how much time, plus crane B for how much time it worked, and that's going to equal one job or one ship being completed, one job or ship. So ideally what we can think of is crane A. Let's think of this as one ship over 10 hours. And we'll think of crane B as it can complete one ship in 14 hours. With that being said, we can just kind of plug something in here. So crane A, we also know it's equivalent to one ship in 10 hours. So we can think of it as 1 over 10 times the amount of time we worked. Now crane B, it's 1 over 14, and the amount of time, now remember, joined by the older crane at 2 p.m., okay? So at 2 p.m. means it's worked for 2 hours less, so t minus 2. So that's a little trick there. And that's going to be equal to 1, okay? So be careful with that little change there. It worked for time minus 2 hours. Now, it may look a little funky, but really this is just t over 10 plus t minus 2 over 14 equals 1. And at this point, it should look a little bit better, okay? So now we just have two fractions, and we're going to have to solve. So this is just good old least common multiple. 10 and 14, what do each of those go into least common multiple? It actually is 70, okay? If you use your calculator, you can find that. So what that basically means is if I just multiply everything by 70, we can go ahead and solve this. So times 70, which is the least common multiple, and I'm going to distribute that to absolutely everything inside here. So 70 over 10 is just going to be 7t plus 70 over 14 is really going to be 5. Now it's going to be t minus 2 in the quantity, and then it's going to equal 70. So we just got a little bit of shaking and baking to do here. 5t minus 10 equals 70. Add 10. That means 80 is equal to 12t. And we'll divide by 12. And the time that this was completed in is 80 divided by 12, or 6.6 repeated hours. And I would accept that, but you guys are honors kids. You can try. We don't really think of 6 repeated in terms of time. So that's also 2/3 of an hour. Or you can say 6 2/3 hours. If you really want to be fancy, you can think of it as 6 hours and 40 minutes. Okay, any of those I will appreciate as an answer. 6 2/3 hours or 6 hours 40 minutes. Either one is fine. So setting it up, I know it's a little confusing, but we'll get through it. Start by finding out what you're trying to find. That's always the first step. Write some information for yourself and then do your best to figure it out. So that was the first one to go through. Let's check out another example. This time we're unloading the Lunar Petro. Okay, I believe that's like a ship of some sort. Lunar Petro, pump A, can unload petro in 30 hours. So let's get some information here. So pump A, it can do 1 ship in 30 hours. Pump B, it can do 1 ship in 24 hours. Because of an approaching storm, both pumps are going to be used. And it doesn't say anything tricky with time, so we're just going to assume they start at the same time. So they're going to start at the same time. So basically what we have here is we have our 1 job that needs completed. That's going to be equal to the time. So the time that pump A is working plus the time that pump B is working, which essentially just means we have T over 30 plus T over 24 is equal to 1. Okay, so A we're thinking of as 1 over 30. So that's where it's just T 1 over 30 and T over 24. So that's a pretty easy one. Least common multiple between 30 and 24. I'm going to use my calculator here. Remember, that's in num. 30 and 24. That is 120. So just going to multiply each side by 120. And distribute that to everything. So 120 divided by 30 is just 4. 120 divided by 24 is 5. And that's going to be equal to 120. So 9t is equal to 120. And pretty harmless there. 120 divided by 9 is 13.3 repeated hours. Also 13 1/3 hours. Or if you want to be fancy, 13 hours and 20 minutes. So all those would be acceptable. So set them up and go through that one there. Hopefully that one wasn't too daunting for you. Let's keep going, okay? Because really practice is going to be perfect. If you want to try this one, you can certainly pause and try it, okay? That's always an option. That's why it's a video. All right, we got conveyor belts again. So this time coal. That's big around here. So an old conveyor belt takes 21 hours to move 1 day's coal. So we'll say the old belt is equal to 1 job over 21 hours. New belt can do it in 15. So the new belt's a little more efficient, and that's 1 over 15. Okay, going to say they're used at the same time. So this one's going to be similar to the last one. No tricky parts. So again, how long does it take? We're looking for time is what we're solving for. So we have the old belt times the amount of time it's working plus the new belt times the amount of time it's working. And that's going to equal one job being completed. The rate at which the old belt works is 1 over 21, so T over 21. The rate of the new one is T over 15, and that's going to equal 1. 21 and 15, let's figure out the least common multiple of those. Math, num, down to LCM. That's what I'm doing in my calculator. 21 and 15. 105. So LCM is 105. And distribute that to all three. 105 divided by 21 is 5. Plus 105 divided by 15 is going to be 7. And that's going to equal 105. So again, 9 times T, not 9, what are you doing, Dvorsky? 5 and 7 is 12 times T equals 105. And 105 divided by 12 is 8.75. So 8.75, 0.75 is 3/4 of an hour. So times equal to 8 3/4 hours. You can leave it like that. 3/4 of an hour would be 45 minutes. So you can leave it like this though. That's fine. Alrighty. Now, last one here. So county's new asphalt paving machine can surface 1 kilometer of highway in 10 hours. So we have the new machine can do 1 kilometer per 10 hours. An older machine can surface 1 kilometer in 18. 1 kilometer per 18 hours. Okay. How long will it take them to surface 21 kilometers of highway if they start at opposite ends and work day and night? Okay, that basically, don't let that confuse you. That just basically means one is going in this direction, the other one's going this direction. So we're still going to be adding their work together. Now we have 21 kilometers of highway to complete. So let's just think again. So the new times the amount of time it works plus the old rate at the amount of time it works. And this time we need to do not just one job, but 21 kilometers. Okay, so equals 21 kilometers. So again, our rates are going to be T over 10 plus T over 18 equals 21. 10 and 18, least common multiple of both of those, comes out to be math num 8. 90. So least common multiple is 90. Going to multiply that to all three. So that's 9 times T plus 90 divided by 18 is 5 times T. And 101 times 90. 1,890. And that just means 14 equals 1,890. And 1,890 divided by 14 is 135. 135 hours. And that's it. Okay, so all those types pretty much the same. Be wary of something like the first one with that little time twist. I do have some extra problems for you to practice. They'll be great, and there'll be one of something like this on the test. So only one type of these, but great idea to look through, and you have these notes for you to go back to if you need them. So great job, guys. Finish that up and do the practice.